I've always believed that every abandoned place has a story. But I never expected one to nearly take my life. The night it happened, I was driving through the mountains on my way to shoot a documentary. My GPS insisted that a small road, one that looked barely used, was the fastest route. The moment I turned onto it, I knew I'd made a mistake. The pavement was cracked, the trees hung low like they wanted to grab the roof of my car, and every road sign looked older than time itself. But then I saw a wooden sign, faded and covered in moss. It said, Hollow Ridge, 12 miles. I'd never heard of Hollow Ridge. And that was exactly why I kept driving. The moment my tires rolled over the town's edge, everything felt off. Silent. Too silent. Not the peaceful kind of quiet, more like the air itself was holding its breath. I parked and stepped into the street with my camera. Every house looked perfectly preserved, like the residents had disappeared only minutes ago. Lights glowed in some windows, though no generator hummed. Doors stood open, but curtains were drawn. I was filming a porch when I saw her. An old woman in a dark blue dress. She stood at the far end of the road, staring straight at me. Motionless. I lifted my camera again and she vanished behind a building without a sound. A cold knot tightened in my stomach. I wasn't alone here. I ducked into what looked like an old general store. Dust covered everything. Newspapers dated 1972 lay scattered on the floor. The air smelled like time had stopped. I was filming a shelf of old jars when a voice behind me made me jump. You shouldn't be here. I turned. A girl stood behind the counter, maybe 17, pale as moonlight, barefoot, with hair tangled like she'd run through the woods. I thought this place was abandoned, I said. No, she whispered. Not abandoned. Forgotten. And it has to stay that way. I took a cautious step toward her, but she backed up. They'll know you're here. They always know when someone new comes in. And if you're still here after dark, they'll keep you. Who will keep me? I asked. She didn't answer. Instead, she grabbed my hand, pressed a small brass key into my palm, and whispered. Lock the door. And don't open it for anyone. Even if they sound human. Before I could say another word, she sprinted out the back door and disappeared between the buildings. My heartbeat echoed in my ears. Whatever she was afraid of. Night was coming. I found a small boarding house with working lights and locked myself inside with the brass key. I set up my camera by the window, partly out of instinct, partly to keep myself from panicking. By midnight, I wished I hadn't stayed to film. At exactly 12:03 a.m., the street lamps flickered. Something moved outside. Tall, thin shapes drifted through the fog, jerky, unnatural, like puppets tugged by invisible strings. They swept the street as if replaying moments from lives they no longer remembered. One of them stopped right in front of the boarding house. Its head snapped toward my window. I dropped beneath the frame, holding my breath. Then came a voice. Soft. Familiar. Let me in, please, it's cold. It was the girl's voice. I stared at the doorknob as it began to rattle. Please, the voice repeated. I'm hurt. My hands trembled. My body wanted to move. But my mind remembered her warning. Do not open the door. The voice changed, lower, furious. Open it. Nails scraped along the wall. The lamp flickered violently. Then, silence. For a moment, I allowed myself to breathe. Until a whisper came from behind me. You almost failed. I spun around. No one was there. At sunrise, the figures were gone. I stepped outside, shaking, exhausted, and headed for the only building that looked untouched, the library. Inside, dust covered everything. Except a single open journal on a table. Inside, dust covered everything. Except a single open journal on a table. As if someone had placed it there moments before. I read. On October 14, 1972, Hollow Ridge vanished overnight. Not destroyed. Not evacuated. Vanished. The entries described strange shadows, voices that weren't human, and the feeling that something beneath the ridge was waking up. The final entry read: "We made a bargain. To survive the plague beneath the mountain, we accepted their terms. We must remain unseen. We must remain forgotten. No one may enter. No one may leave." I felt ice water run through my veins. I had entered. And I had filmed everything. I sprinted to my car and floored the gas pedal. The road twisted ahead, but it wasn't the road I'd driven in on. Turns were reversed. Trees were different. The exit sign was gone. No matter which way I turned, every road led back to the same place. The entrance to Hollow Ridge. The town wasn't letting me leave. I slammed the steering wheel in frustration. "That's not fair." A voice from the back seat replied. "Fairness ended here in 1972. My blood froze. I turned. The old woman in the blue dress sat calmly behind me. I couldn't move. Couldn't blink. Could barely breathe. "You recorded us," she said. "You broke the rule. What is seen cannot remain hidden." "I'll delete it," I whispered. "No. Humans say that, but they never do." She reached toward my camera. The lens shattered without her touching it. "You entered the unseen," she said softly. "Now you must become part of it." Her hand reached for me. Instinct took over. I threw myself out of the car and ran, camera in hand, down the street. I didn't know where I was going. Only that I had to run. A hand grabbed my arm. I jerked away until I saw it was the girl. "You still have the key," she whispered. I nodded. "Then come with me. There's one place they can't follow." She led me up a hill to a stone chapel, older than everything else in town. The moment we stepped inside, I felt the weight of the air change. She locked the door behind us. I collapsed onto a wooden bench. "Who are they?" I asked. She hesitated. "They were the townspeople. My parents. Their parents. Everyone. The bargain twisted them into watchers. Tied to this place forever. And someday, I'll become one too." "Why help me?" "Because someone once tried to escape," she whispered. "Someone I cared about. He didn't make it. I don't want that to happen again." Outside, thunder rumbled. Then whispers. "Dozens of them. They've found us." She pulled a map from a drawer and pointed to a blinking red mark deep in the forest. "The rift, do not approach. That's the only way out," she said. "It's where the bargain was made. If you reach it, the town loses its hold on you. But the Watchers will try to stop you. And if you hesitate even once, they'll keep you." "Why can't you come with me?" I asked. She looked down. "I was born here. I can't cross the rift." "But you can." The chapel door shook violently. Time was up. She opened the back door. "Run," she whispered. "No matter what you hear, do not look back." I sprinted into the forest. Branches whipped my arms. The cracked camera bounced against my chest. Behind me, voices followed. First strangers. Then friends. Then family. "Daniel, wait. Daniel, don't leave me. Help me." My mother's voice. My real mother. My heart broke. But I didn't look back. Not once. The trees thinned. Heat pulsed ahead. A shimmering wall of light stood in the clearing. The rift. I pushed forward. A hand clawed around my ankle. The old woman's voice hissed. "You don't belong out there anymore." I kicked free and lunged into the light. And everything went white. 3 months later, hikers found a damaged camera near an unmarked part of the forest. Most of the footage was corrupted, except for a silent town, a barefoot girl warning me, tall, impossible figures in fog, a chapel door shaking, a blinding flash of white. No trace of me was ever discovered. As for Hollow Ridge, no map shows it, no road leads to it, and locals swear it never existed. But on foggy nights, hikers claim they hear a whisper drifting through the trees. Don't look back.